All right, just finished up this episode with Dan from Pegasus. We talked quite a bit about content creation. So if you're interested in content creation or streaming or similar things in the esports space, this will be a great episode for you. We talked quite a bit about all the opportunities in the space, so there's quite a bit of value in this episode. As always, if you like the episode, give it a like on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Whether you like it or not, I appreciate a subscription or whatever it is, because that helps me, grow the podcast. It gets it in front of other people's eyes and things like that. So if you haven't subscribed and you listen to these episodes, please do that. And if you are subscribed, tell a friend today, because that always helps me too. Other than that, here's the episode. Have a good one. Hello and welcome to episode number 27 of the After Hours podcast. Here with me today, I have the owner and CEO of Pegasus Esports, Dan Goodman. Thanks for coming on, Dan.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I'm excited to get into this one with you. I know you recently launched the Pegasus brand. So I'm excited to talk through while it's all fresh in your mind still, the process of getting that started. And all those fun things. But before we get into that, just I guess give us that 10-second intro of you, what you do, how long you've been in the space, things like that.
Like Zack said, I am the CEO and owner of Pegasus. It's going to be a content creation-based organization. Naturally, I've been in the space for around, I would say, 5+ years now. Oh, God, it's been 5. And I've been working with previous organizations that are considered tier 2, such as World Best, Cyclone, even I think it was Asheville Authority back in the time.
Cool. Yeah, I'm very, I wouldn't, maybe not very familiar. I'm pretty familiar with all those brands though, so it's pretty cool. I didn't know you had worked with those guys, so it's pretty cool. I always do this a little bit out of order, but the main question I always like to ask on these episodes is, what was the first encounter with the esports community that you had? Not necessarily like your first job, but the first time that you were like, oh, this is esports. I like this. This is cool. Let's kind of maybe talk a little bit about that.
Oh, so I actually remember this clearly.
Yeah.
So I was like 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 12 or 13. And I was at my neighbor's house. And we were playing Xbox. I still have Xbox till this day. But me and him were playing Xbox, and we're playing Black Ops 2. Then we're like, you know what? Let's search up some type of class build. And we came along this stream. It was Twitch. And we came along Twitch. And it was Optic versus FaZe.
Ooh.
It was the tournament.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it was Optic. I did not know it was FaZe at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yo, look at this. This is what's going on. They're like playing for like 10 grand. That's it. I think it was like not that much. I don't think it was that much. And it caught my eye. It was really interesting. There's casters. I think it was Courage. I'm not sure if it was Courage, but it was young talent. It was just like the whole air changed when I started watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wow, this is pretty cool. Let me just remember the web address and watch it at home.
Yeah, was it like a LAN event, or was it just an online one?
It was a LAN event, I believe.
It's pretty cool. I remember a lot about Black Ops 2 because that was when I really, really started getting involved in the space. So I definitely that kind of hits a nerve, I guess, with my memories as well. But Black Ops 2 was so much fun. I miss watching that.
It was a good game, and this game that we have currently is also, I would give it a 7 out of 10 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I would agree. I mean, it definitely depends on who you ask. There's a lot of people who are very both directions with this current game, I think, at least from what I've seen on Twitter. I've only played a handful of hours. Maybe, I don't even know about a handful, maybe 2. Um, I'm just so busy. So I just haven't played very many video games, but that's on me. But from what I have played of that in the beta, it's been pretty fun. But I'm looking forward to
Good game.
the season to start, the CDL season, to watch the competitive scene. So
Right.
yeah. So yeah. So I guess let's jump back to Pegasus. Obviously, the brand was recently announced. I know I had a little bit of prior information about it, just due to our talking back and forth. But I want to, or let's get into a little bit about the name you chose, why specifically the name, the branding, the logo, all those things, and what you and everybody else involved's kind of thought process was around that as that went on.
Well, it was like a long process. It was around 4 months that I've actually been cooking that up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a full on decision because I gave up on waiting for an opportunity within the space, mainly because I was not good enough. It was a bunch of shutdowns, rejections, and I thought to myself, "F that."
Yeah.
I literally said that word, and I was like, I got to think of something and create my own opportunity and create an opportunity for other people possibly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's literally what went through my mind creating Pegasus. The branding itself, I like mythology. Come
Yeah.
on, who doesn't like mythology?
Yeah. I hear that.
Um, you got some very good characters out there, and I thought, what better? I did a lot of research. Let's just say that I did a lot of research in terms of what branding would work best. The only logo that you would consider is a horse is Team Liquid, and that's it.
That's true.
And their logo is considered a steed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a steed is basically a broad horse that is very much muscular.
Right.
Um, and that's it. I originally thought of a dragon, but that's overused. I thought of a kraken, that was also overused. I thought of Zeus and lightning bolts, that's overused as well.
Yeah.
And I landed on the pure fact of a Pegasus because of how pure the actual horse is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the actual logo is white, the background is purple. It's a very calm violet purple because it showcases calmness, divinity, and all that.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, I like that. I've always been interested in origin stories, regardless of like how new the brand is or how seasoned it is. Like obviously, the deeper history, there's more history to it, obviously. But I always like what or to hear what goes on in your head when you're trying to put together a brand. Like obviously, you want to put together a brand, but like, what's the voice? How do I build that voice? How do I express that voice? And all those things. So I think that's super interesting. So what is your like like I guess current goals is probably not the wording I'm trying to use here. What are you guys doing right now? What is your main focus to grow the brand? What are you doing in terms of like content and things like that? Walk me through that a little bit.
So I don't want to rush into any form of actions and
Mm-hmm.
make a mistake. That's one very important thing is making a mistake. I already have made mistakes, and the main goal is to learn from them.
Right.
With Pegasus, the main goal right now is building a proper structure. Um, there's a lot of planning going on. There's a lot of like setting aside things. And as for influencers, I do have staff under me that will be searching out, recruiting people that have a personality. That's like the main goal in my mindset, at least, is to acquire people, influencers, content creators, consider it, in Twitch, Mixer, YouTube. It doesn't matter. If
Mm-hmm.
you have a good personality and you are entertaining to your audience, I want you. Like there is like a form of that,
Right.
and that's really what I want Pegasus to become. Also, ideally, I am looking to do a bunch of like partnerships. It's hard to say exactly what I'm doing right now, It's more so you're going to see within upcoming weeks that we're going to be posting out announcements. We're going to be recruiting new people. But the main goal is content creation at the moment.
Right.
And it's the most ideal subject, I would say, in the gaming space right now, aside esports, because esports is at its very low with revenue.
Yeah. Just to clarify, when you say, are you saying like content create or esports is more? There's more opportunity in esports or more opportunity in content creation?
There's more opportunity in content creation.
Okay. All right. I guess I must have misheard you because I thought you were saying that there's more opportunity in esports. And like, yes, and like I think you could argue both ways because I think esports there's opportunity in the sense that the scene is still growing and there's it's like limitless. Nobody has any idea what that's going to be, but content creation is very established. Like entertainment and media in everyday life outside of gaming is very much like the money's there. It's there. It's achievable. And in gaming, it translates very, very pretty much straight over. I mean, look at YouTube. Look at all these content creators who just like a T Martin or like big YouTubers that play video games but aren't in esports. Like that's established. Esports is getting there.
Right.
It's definitely pretty established. But I mean, I feel like there's still so much growth on the esports side of things.
And you are correct on that. I'm not going to lie, Zach. That is correct.
Yeah.
It's just a very scary thing right now.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I hear you.
It's a very scary thing because many organizations fail to do both. And doing both is very important. Doing one over the other is also very important. It's best to say, like, for the people that are viewing this podcast right now, it's easier to understand that if you're spending a lot of money putting down teams, contracting them, flying them out, and only the tournament provides you so much depending on which space you're going into, which which category you go into.
Yeah.
You aren't really breaking even at the end of the day. You're actually losing quite a lot. And many organizations that are currently very successful are falling back on the fact that they have content creators, they have content, they have a form of entertainment, and as well, of course, their partners.
Yep.
Aside from the winnings and all that, statistically, that is proven already, most organizations make their money not from the teams that they have, but from the partners and the content creators, the viewers, basically.
Yeah, of course. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know the thing with esports is like there's definitely opportunity in both directions. I think the biggest thing is with esports, it's a lot harder to start at ground zero and be successful in esports
without money.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Without money, like, if you have a few $1 million funding or maybe $1 million, you could do some damage. If it's put in the right spot, but people could come in and put all this money in a certain place and it just could not work. There's been however many instances of that over the last 12 to 18 months. But with content creation, it's not that it's easier, but it's lower barrier cost of entry. So, like you were saying before, you're just interested in picking up people to work with you guys that have an interesting personality, and all they're looking for is to have a brand to represent. And you guys have a mutual agreement that you're going to grow each other. Like, you're going to put in the effort to grow in Pegasus. The other guy or girl is going to put in the effort to grow in Pegasus, and Pegasus is going to reciprocate that to everybody and lift everybody up. It's the what is it? The rising tide lifts all ships, or however it's said. I probably butchered that, but I think it's interesting. I like the content creation side of things. I've not really been a big content guy up until recently. I never really did too much. I was just a Twitter troll. I mean, not even a Twitter troll. I was just a Twitter lurker, if anything. But I think it's very interesting, the content creation side of gaming right now in esports specifically. So I'm excited to see what you guys are, or where you're gonna take that, and what your growth is gonna look like over the next 6 to 12 months. So I guess, so what are your plans as far as content creation? And do you have a particular set of creators that focus on YouTube or like on-demand video and content, or are you guys focusing more on the live side of things? What does that look like?
Actually, it's going to be like more or less both.
Okay.
The whole idea of what we're going to be doing is right now I'm building a team of designers, editors, and that's something that we're going to be able to offer to those people who would be interested in us. Is a team that is capable of not only upping what you produce, better editing, better designs for your audience. If you're a streamer, nice overlay. Like not only that. When it comes to YouTubing, you want the best edited video, the very nice setup. I am looking to further, like maybe in the like late future, possibly like help smaller people out.
Yeah.
Those who are just starting off. I want to give back to the community in some ways. Once I actually get back on the feet with Pegasus, once we're actually safe from the so-called how do you say it, the startup.
Yeah, I hear that.
So it's a right now it's a very idea based time for us, and mainly like content creation, the way that we're able to share it with YouTube, Mixer, Twitch, any platform possibly that you could think of. That's what we'll be looking at.
Do you personally have and feel free to not answer this because I don't know if this is a bad question to ask. Do you have a favorite platform that you guys like? Maybe you're like focusing on like Facebook live streamers for whatever reason or whatever. Is there something that you guys are gearing more towards?
Right now it's very hard to say.
Yeah.
It's a answer that I won't be able to answer.
Okay. That is fine. I totally understand that. As far as I guess this one you could probably answer. Do you have a preference between I know you're working on both in Pegasus, or like to staff for both. Staff is probably not the right word, but whatever. Are you more into on-demand content or live content, personally?
Personally, I like live content.
Okay.
I like seeing interactions. Interactions is one of the big things that goes on in content. It makes the audience and viewers feel like they're they feel like they're looked at. They're talking to their form of idols. Sometimes it's going to be an idol.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, look at Ninja. Obviously, we had to mention Ninja in this stream, right? I mean, this podcast.
Of course.
We had to mention him because that's an idol at this point. Those little kids are looking up to him.
Oh, little kids, big kids. I look up to him.
I look up to him. I'm not gonna lie.
I just know if I didn't mention that in here, and my boy Mitch over here listened to this podcast and listened to that part, he'd give me crap for it because Ninja is my hero. Nah, I'm just kidding. I mean, I agree. I think the live portion of at that level, I think the live portion there's a lot more value in the free side of that content. It's super cool. Like for people who aren't as familiar with what gaming celebrity is like right now, like that's like Derek Jeter pointing at you in the stands when he's walking by or walking in his entrance, to come to his first at bat. Like when someone like a Ninja or like a Tfue or like Tim the Tatman says your name from the chat, it's like that's what it feels like. And I guess people can't really wrap their heads around that. I think it's super interesting, that people don't understand that it's weird to people when you're not really cultured and in the space as much as we kind of grew in it. It's like a lot of people, it's like that's just some guy on a camera that said your name. Like, what's the big deal? But
right.
It's the same concept as an A-list celebrity in today's day and age. But for me, I personally am more of a fan of on-demand content, just because I guess it could go both ways, because I do like the reaction and the responsiveness and the interaction that you get from live content. But when it comes to on-demand, I could watch whatever I want when I want to. And then on the creation side of things, I'm really bad about live because I can't be consistent, because my times are always all over the place. for me, it's great. Like from the podcast, like I could do the podcast today at 5 o'clock. I could do it tomorrow at 9 p.m. I could do it the next day at 4 a.m. if I wanted to. But at the same time, I could schedule that upload for 6 a.m. every Friday, and then I don't miss my preset deadlines. So I guess it depends on the person that's. I guess it depends on the person and what their life looks like, both on the creation side of things and on the consumption side of things. But
I mean, you have content creators that are doing both.
oh no, 100%. I mean, I agree with that. There's definitely the people that do both. But I mean, I don't know. I guess we could kind of go down a rabbit hole here because is there any content creator like Courage or Ninja or whoever that streams live or that streams live that also uploads their videos to their VODs to YouTube and cuts them up, that you're interested in only watching the on demand?
Well, aside from the names that you just named, Ninja and Courage, they of course do that. That's part of their job.
Right.
You have Valkyrie. You have it goes down the list of who streams on YouTube because YouTube offers a very easy way of uploading. As for partner streamers, not only partner streamers, may I lie? I'm sorry. Normal Twitch streamers. I'm not sure about Mixer as a VOD. Twitch, if you're done streaming, you're also able to upload that and leave that as a recap for those who missed out your stream.
Yeah.
And they're able to, on demand, watch the stream over again. Same thing goes for like CSGO.
Yeah.
I have CSGO followed. So let's say I missed an Astralis game. Damn it, I missed it. But guess what? I could go rewatch it.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'm more getting at like, if I personally, I don't like to watch on demand like a rerun or like I missed like in that situation. If there's a league some type of league match going on, I'd like to either at least find out what happened or see the highlights or whatever. But in a situation where I missed Courage's stream today, or whoever's stream, I don't enjoy going back and rewatching that VOD because there's so much of it. Am I going to sit there and rewatch the whole thing and then there's no interaction capability there? I guess when I think of on-demand content, I'm thinking more of like a vlog style or like a 10-minute. I guess it used to be like cut comms were pretty big on YouTube, and then there's like, just like I know back when I was really big into Call of Duty YouTubers, like Scump used to do his whatever 100-0 like lobbies that he'd go 100-0 in a headquarters match or whatever it was. That's the type of stuff I like to see on demand more versus just a ripped version of a stream. But okay, again, I guess that's personal preference.
I'm seeing what you mean now.
Yeah.
I'm seeing what you mean.
I guess I didn't clarify that enough. But now we're here, so that's great. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Content, that's the beautiful thing about it. It's like there's so many ways to produce and distribute it that there's always there's always something you could do to cater to X, Y, and Z person, whether it's a 10-second Instagram story or a 45-minute podcast or a 6-hour live stream or like whatever it is. I feel that I just think it's great that there's so many different ways to create content.
Right. And have you heard about the TikTok wave?
Oh, have I heard about the TikTok wave? I'm a huge advocate. I'm terrible at the content creation side of things, but I have heard about it. Is Pegasus on there, or are you on there?
Near future. Right now, it's quite a lot. Right now, I'm researching it more and more. See what people are interested in. But the craziest thing is just like the Chinese algorithm that's set up behind it. It's so random. Oh my god!
Like the discoverability algorithm behind it.
Yes, it is so random.
It's super interesting. I noticed. I don't know if this is part of it, but I did notice that it's also location based because I went home for Christmas for a week, and I started getting all these like TikToks of people on Long Island, people in New York, all this stuff, and then I come back here and it's like all these Texas ones. I was like, I didn't even notice that was a thing, but I think that's pretty cool too. But their algorithm is super, super, super deep. And I like it because it's so, it really gives the it doesn't let you accidentally become TikTok famous. I think, like, yes, anybody could still have a super viral video that's going to blow up, but at the same time, consistency is super important on that app. Like I had a video that it's still kind of going. It's like it hit like 22,000 views, and I have like 100 followers on there. So it's like,
oh, you're famous, bro.
no. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is like anything could just kind of catch, and once it catches, it gets seen by however many people, and then it just kind of goes from there. But you have to put a decent piece of content out, which I think it's great. I think the app's super fun. It's super intuitive. It's great for this generation of people creating content, I guess.
It's a very interesting, like we can definitely talk about this.
Yeah.
And I was actually thinking about this before the whole entire podcast even happened. It was a little video I watched. It was like, if you ever watched the Vegetable Stories or whatever it's called.
Veggie Tales?
Veggie Tales.
Hell
Veggie
yeah.
Tales. So there was an episode of Veggie Tales where it was the tomato dude and I think it was the cucumber dude. I don't know what's his name. And they were talking about the future, and they were talking about the types of jokes in the future.
Yeah.
And every time they said there was a joke, it was a random joke. So I was thinking about the fact that what we have today is considered the future.
Yeah.
And the most random things that you could think of become viral.
That's true.
And
that's true.
You can have the most, like, you can have someone fart a song, an alphabet that's random, and it's going to become like viral for a whole month.
That's an idea. But I mean, it's true. Like, you're right. There's so much random, like, if you go back and look and think about all that viral content that has come around, it's one of those, like, before it happened, if you heard about it and someone didn't explain it perfectly, you'd be like, that's kind of stupid. But then when you see it, the actual piece that went viral done the way that it's done exactly, you know, that's what makes it viral. And I think it's just so interesting how those things can happen, and how, like, most people aren't even, I mean, I guess a lot of people are trying to, like, either replicate it or do their own thing to purposely become viral, but a lot of that content is just kind of done. Either whether it's on accident. And yeah, exactly. And people are just either accidentally recording, or it just was perfect timing, or whatever it is, and it blows up, and it's great.
It's like you said, it's great. It's fantastic. You just don't expect it. You don't. It's not acting. It's not, the Hollywood style acting right there.
Yeah.
It legit happens, and it's either a perfectly timed scream or someone completely dunks you out of nowhere. It's just,
yeah.
Oh my God. It's this is the form of content we want to talk about here.
Yeah. So were you on Vine at all?
No, I haven't.
You were never on Vine?
I was never on Vine, but I did watch Vine.
No. So I mean, this to me is, and to, I guess, anybody, I guess, my age or older, or anybody who was on Vine in general, is very reminiscent of Vine. It's quick. I think TikTok did a good job. There's a very good amount of, like, 10 to 15 second pieces of content, and it goes all the way up to a minute, I think. But Vine was strictly 10 seconds or less. I think that is one of the biggest things that they differentiate. But I think TikTok did a really good job of keeping that feeling of, like, in-app content that's, like, created specifically for TikTok. That's what that like Vine did really, really well. And I don't know. It's super reminiscent of that to me. And I missed Vine when they took it away, or they sold it and took it down, or however that happened. It was depressing to us Vine people, and David Dobrik.
Listen, David. Listen, I watched Vine and I enjoyed Vine.
Yeah.
It created complete opportunities for those people who are very funny, those who are entertaining.
Yeah.
Not Logan Paul, but
See, we're on the same damn page, and I was gonna say everyone but Logan Paul deserved their opportunity that they got, and I didn't want to like upset you or anything, because I don't know who likes who. I'm glad you said that though. I'm not a huge fan of Logan Paul.
Me neither. It's more of a troll person.
Yeah. But
yeah,
I mean, so yeah, definitely miss Vine. TikTok is great. The good thing with TikTok is there's like, aside from the fact that there's still so much opportunity from like the global side of things. Like anybody can get on there, and we were saying it before, can put out some viral piece of content, or like put together, curate a bunch of different pieces of content that are like pretty good and that'll help them grow. But gaming and esports specifically on TikTok, there's like nothing. There's literally nothing. There's people who post like clips of their Fortnite wins and stuff like that. I guess it's kind of hard because gaming is meant to be viewed wide landscape, where TikTok is typically viewed portrait. Like you could technically rotate it, but nobody wants to rotate the phone when they're watching it. But I'd like to see someone come in and like completely redefine what gaming TikTok looks like. And
I saw an article about that, actually. I saw an article with the esports organizations that are actually currently getting involved in TikTok.
Oh yeah, I think I probably saw the same one.
Yeah, we probably did. You saw TSM, you saw like all those organizations.
Yeah.
You're going to start seeing exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
You're going to see more or less clips of possible victories and all that. You're going to see funny moments with the players. You're just going to see overall content that people want to see from their current something's wrong with my Apple Watch. Oops, sorry. Basically, you're going to see what exactly you want to see as a fan.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think like TikTok, I think the way the app is made, and like the intent of consumption for the content itself is like it being that it's vertical, it's going to steer your big content creators away from doing just, like if you look at a majority of what content creators do on Instagram, they fit their video in their square, or they could even do a landscape version of whatever gameplay. And it works pretty well because Instagram kind of allows for it. But with TikTok, it just kind of looks weird. It's not as native to the app. I think it's going to really force people to do more like personal things. So like your established people in the content creation side of things, they're going to get offline. They're going to, record a quick like Snapchat story style video or something about their life or whatever it is, or something gaming meme related offline. And I think that it'll help really it'll help the fans and the viewers really get to know their favorite streamer or YouTuber or esports player or whatever it is. And I'm really excited for that to start to come around, because I'm sure that's just kind of the direction it's going to go naturally.
One of the things that I really did want to like talk about within this podcast as well is 2020.
Yeah.
It is going to be a very important year for gaming, esports, and content overall.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, moving forward in general for the years to come now, from this point on, there's many calculations. The fact that esports is going to become like $192 billion industry this year, this actual year itself, comparing to the 21 billion that it created 2019.
Wait, it's going to go from, you said it's going to
skyrocket.
It was 21 billion in 2019, the industry as a whole?
Yes, I believe so.
Holy
if
crap.
I am mistaken, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But,
I didn't, I'm really bad at keeping up with those numbers. I know it's been growing, but 21 billion is a lot of money. Holy crap.
Well, if you compare 2018, the viewership rating was higher than the Super Bowl.
Yes. Oh, who did I just talk to about this? Oh, it was on a podcast I was on a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's insane. Like viewership in esports. I guess the biggest differences between esports and sporting events is you're building up to the Super Bowl the entire year. All 32 teams, all fans of all 32 teams are building up to that one game, and just about everybody who's a consistent football watcher will watch that game regardless of who they're fans of. With esports, there's a ton of or they're quote unquote regular season matches. Like let's talk CS:GO for example. There's a
Right.
lot of throughout the season matches that really don't get that much viewership. And then I guess CS:GO is probably a bad example. Let's backtrack here. For Call of Duty, I know that probably doesn't compare numbers wise directly to the Super Bowl, but with Call of Duty, it's like it'll be different this year. But last year, it's like 7 or 8 major events throughout the year, and that's really all these people get to watch. They have the league that they had, which is like a week or 2 weeks, twice a year or something. But like then they have the one major event. But that one major event is also like a culmination of a couple other major events throughout the year. So there's a lot less for specific esports games. But it's like at the same time, I don't know. It's a really weird argument to have as far as numbers go because it's not exactly structured the same way. But
And you can't forget the fact that you want to watch your favorite team.
oh, hell yeah.
You can't miss out on Optic playing, you know?
Oh, I hear you. I mean, I definitely hear you.
It's exactly the same thought process.
Yeah.
You're gonna have your fan base really to really grow that number.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a hard argument to talk about. It's not even an argument at all. It's actually a full-on discussion.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I think if we're still on the esports versus traditional sports topic, I think it's almost like comparing apples to oranges. Because the other thing is like anybody in any part of the world could flip up on Twitch for free and watch whatever the hell they want.
Right.
With football, if I want to watch the Giants game because I'm a Giants fan, a sad Giants fan at that, I have to pay for the what's it called, NFL something pass, the team pass, or I have to find a stream for it or whatever, and I got to do all that extra work, because I only get the Cowboys games and one other market game here, which is typically the Texans or whatever. So it's a little bit harder to reach what you want if you're not living in your market for traditional sports. So there's that too. There's a lot of numbers arguments. I still think esports probably would do better right now.
100%. I mean, I'm very interested in what the league is going to be coming with in terms of Call of Duty.
Oh yeah,
That's one thing. I'm interested. I'm kind of skeptical because there's, I've been talking to the professionals that have been driving the industry, and they're also skeptical about it. It's a very franchise in general is a scary thing. Because you have to put in a boatload of a deposit in order to get your spot in the league.
Oh yeah, of course.
And I've seen franchising fail I can't say it failed for the Overwatch League. The Overwatch League is doing just fine.
Yeah.
For let's say Smite, the Smite franchising failed. It did fail.
Smite was franchised? Is franchised?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I don't follow Smite as closely as I probably should, just because, it's there. Is it? I don't know. What is that? So is it same exact concept to like Overwatch League? You buy your spot, you own your spot. There's no relegation.
You could sell your spot.
You can sell your spot. Okay.
Yeah. So like, it's definitely like that. It's just the fact that the buyout in the first year that they decided to launch that, it was very high for some organizations. So
to buy into the league.
Yeah, to buy into the league. And in the end of the year, the sellout was even less. So
yeah,
it was kind of it's very interesting what's going on. I've talked to the pros, and they're basically working for their paychecks, basically, and it's sad to hear that. I do enjoy that scene because I grew on it for the past 5+ years. It's just very interesting, and the fact that you can compare it to other leagues, or franchises, if you want to call it, and say that, wow, what happens if Halo becomes franchised? It's very scary because the viewership is not entirely there.
That's one of the biggest things. Back. Don't hate on Halo.
I'm not hating on Halo.
I know. I'm just messing with you. I'm just I grew up a pretty diehard Halo fan.
I know you. I have Moses. You know Moses.
Yeah.
Shout out to Moses. I love him. You know that scene is like very nice. You're gonna see some crazy stuff this year from Halo.
Oh, yeah.
I know this for sure. But like, continue on to talk with Smite. It's just, it's very scary. It's very scary.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, franchising in general. Like you have to, there has to be some type of dollar amount to buy in. You know, if that's too high for an organization, maybe there's the argument that, you know, they didn't belong there if they didn't want to spend that money. Because at the end of the day, somebody would have bought into that league. Because there's the thing with all that money, there's almost guaranteed attention on that league. Yes, the dollar amount could have been too high. Maybe it could have, you know, for the payoff in the end. But like, how long has it been franchised? 1, 2 years?
It's been since season 5. I would say 2 years.
2 years. So like, any smart businessman who has been involved in business outside, I mean, I guess inside or outside of esports, like anybody who kind of knows what they're doing should understand that the payoff in any franchise league is not going to be within the first 12 months. Won't be within the first 24 months. Like you have to.
It won't be in the first 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have to expect to put some money in. And if you're not ready to put that kind of money in, you're not just going to, I don't know what the buy-in was, but you're not just going to put down $5 million and expect to make back $5 million on top of that in a year. Nobody should be thinking that way. And if that's what you're thinking when you're buying into a league, you better turn your ass around and go somewhere else.
Exactly. And that's the most scariest thing.
Yeah.
In this case, this is why I mentioned Smite franchising, is because content played a very large role in the failure.
Oh, did it?
Yes.
To what capacity?
To the point where they signed a deal with Mixer.
Oh, right.
And they signed that Mixer deal. They legit cut 75% of their viewership. Yeah, not 50%, not 40%. They cut 75 to 80% of their viewership in that transition, like that whole entire transaction. And they had that deal for, I would say, around 2 years.
Yeah.
Because they finally are joining back onto Twitch.
I think the biggest thing is like, so for me personally, I have always been a fan of both Shroud and Ninja. And now that they're both exclusive Mixer streamers, I don't watch them as much because I tend to just be on Twitch throughout the day, just because naturally there are a lot more people that I watch on Twitch than there are on Mixer or Facebook Live or whatever it is. So it's definitely not an issue with the application or the program or whatever with Mixer in general or these other live channels. Like, I guess YouTube and Twitch will, I think, always be the front pack unless Mixer or Facebook comes in and spends however much money to get the top 100 streamers on each platform over to them. People are always just going to naturally gravitate towards Twitch because there's more people on there. So right. I think, but like by no means do I dislike the platform of any of those, because I've been on Mixer to watch Ninja or Shroud. I've been on YouTube and Facebook to watch specific events that are on, and I don't dislike it by any means. At the end of the day, you full screen it, and who cares? Because I'm not a big chat guy. It's just a matter of getting there and, you know, finding the person that you want to watch and all that. And I just don't have the time to lurk on Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, and Facebook Live. And then there's all these other ones. There's 2 or 3 other ones. But I don't know. I mean,
you mentioned it. I think like the fact that you mentioned that, you know, you feel a little bit more relieved. I would say the word is relieved.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through the stress of going back and forth on different websites.
Oh yeah.
It's just it's suiting your laziness, right?
Talk about your own laziness, not mine.
Okay. I'll talk about my laziness here then. So my laziness kind of sees the fact that like Twitch right now is in a very bad state,
mainly
mainly because of their ongoing scandals.
Yeah, that's to say the least.
We've all heard of their scandals in terms of sexism, in terms of racism,
Yeah.
and discriminatory things. You can't throw a goddamn cat over your head and expect not to get
No,
hurt.
but what you can do is put a mouthful of vodka in its mouth. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's gonna really do it. And great, my cleavage looks very good today as well. Like there's terms of service
Yeah.
that many streamers have been breaking, and right now Twitch isn't my favorite platform. Going back to the question that you asked me in the beginning of the podcast,
Yeah.
which one is your favorite platform? I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say Twitch is my current favorite platform. Neither is YouTube,
Right.
because there is way too many scandals going on, and the
Yeah.
fact that Twitch has changed over the years, so has YouTube. YouTube has locked down on how free can you be, because YouTube used to be awesome. Like, you're able to do practically anything. You're able to produce any form of content, and people would love you for it.
Yeah.
And it's a real life thing, but people got soft.
So with YouTube, like, I mean, it's pretty well known, the current concerns with Twitch and the platform as a whole. But with YouTube, what are you talking about? Because I don't know if I understand entirely, which would mean that I'm sure there's a couple people who don't understand entirely what's different about YouTube now versus back then.
So those that don't know, back then, you were able to produce any form of content. It could be any form of video, and you didn't have to worry about being, what do they call it? Copyrighted?
Yeah.
Yeah, copywritten over it, because everyone did not care over if you use someone's thing, like any song, any piece of content that other person provided.
Yeah.
Up until recently. And those who used the other content would always put in the description, always put in the form of, hey, I use this, so here's your true, like, what do you call that word? Respect I would say respect.
Yeah.
Like that you made this content, and here I'm mentioning you.
Right.
They locked down that over
Yeah.
the years.
I mean, I think you could argue. There's two ways you could probably argue that. I guess to put it into perspective of another, like the way I look at it is if you don't edit, do you?
No, not necessarily.
So pretend you did, and you put together a 20-minute walkthrough video of, I don't know, how to play a new champion at Smite, right?
Mm-hmm.
What, like, I guess, how would you feel if somebody took that, downloaded it, and re-uploaded it on their own channel and like used it like a voiceover, or like talked over your content, and all they did was throw a little down in the description, a credit to you, and then their video blew up and yours was just sitting at like 15 views or whatever? I feel like that is a more extreme case of like what.
Yeah, that's the most extreme case possible.
But I mean, like, I think you could. I don't know. I think there should be artists that opt into this versus opting out of it, for music. Because I hate trolling for free music. It's like it's tedious. I can never find anything that I want. I always have an idea in my head of what song that I want, and then, but at the same time, I feel like I understand why that rule is there. But I also feel like, I can't even think of artists, so I'm not even going to say one. But like your big, your big time artists may opt into it. Like they may be interested in providing that free content, because then at the end of the day, if who we got, if Logic is going to put content for free out for these people, more people are going to listen to it because he opted in, and he's going to allow all of his content to be streamed free on YouTube. Like why not?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and I'm going to agree with you on that one. I had a very hard time coming up with the Pegasus intro. I won't lie.
Yeah.
That was the most difficult task I've actually had to go with.
You talking about the audio for it?
Yeah, talking
Yeah.
about the audio for it.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, what if my horse moves a certain way and someone else made that horse move that same way?
Is that going to be an issue? I mean, if it's your own, if the
It could
logo is
be.
unique.
I mean, have you seen the intro?
Yeah, I saw the intro.
It was completely free-handed made. I mean,
was
so
it?
it can't be.
Yeah.
It was the motion designer. Shout out to him. Great job, dude. The fact that I couldn't find a really nice song to add into it. There's so many good songs.
I mean, I guess there's another argument you can make. Like, do you want your video as a content, as a non-music producer, do you want a video to be known and established and like everybody's talking about it because of the song used, or do you want it to be talked about because of the actual content in it, whether it's your gameplay or the insight you're providing or the graphics you're designing or whatever it is? Like, I think it's more important, to be known for your content itself versus somebody threw a hot new track over it that everybody's hearing right now, and it's just naturally they'll like it.
Well,
But
you want to get both.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Best of both worlds,
I guess that's a good way to look at it too. That's why I was saying. I mean, you could argue it both ways. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure this. I mean, the way the world is, and the way like rules are, and laws, and copyright stuff, and that stuff, I feel like it changes all the time. So for all we know, 2020 is the year that it changes again, and we'll be able to put our favorite Rick Roll soundtrack over our songs or our videos.
I can finally put on "I'm Blue," da be dee doo da.
Exactly.
Finally.
Cool. I think. I mean, we definitely talked a lot about content in this.
Yeah, we knocked out a lot.
I think that's probably where we should start to wind it down a little bit. Unless there was something. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about while we were on here?
Not necessarily. We actually knocked out everything that I had in mind.
Sweet. Awesome. So, and then we could just nonchalantly transition over to the shameless plug portion of this podcast, where you tell everybody where they could find you.
Well, you could find me on Twitter at Pegasus CEO. It is spelled PEGASUS CEO. Or you would love to find my organization, which is Pegasus ESC, which stands for Pegasus Esports Club, which is at PEGASUS ESC.
Mm-hmm. And for people who are grammatically challenged, I will put links to that in the show notes and the YouTube description, if I remember, which I typically do. So click that.
Awesome.
But yeah, I think that's going to be the end of the episode. So thank you, Dan, for coming on.
Thank you, Zack.
I got to do the whole part where I tell people to make sure you're subscribed to the podcast, make sure you like the podcast, and whatever it is on the platform that you're listening to, follow it. That way you could catch the next one. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Follow him.
Yeah. Later.